All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to put a grid onto a picture so that when we're done with it, we can work with the picture in a method of enlarging it. So to do this, I'm going to show you some steps to do this, and I'm going to use my own picture, but remember you could use any picture to do the same process. So it's going to get rid of me there. Okay, so the way you're going to do this is, number one, I want you to set up the paper so it's ready to print, and then you can make the image go along with the canvas size. So what I'm saying is I want you to go File, you're going to go New, and down here we have all these different paper types, which I'm pretty sure, paper is called A4, but for some reason this is not the right setting size-wise. So what we're going to do is we're simply going to make that picture into 11 by 8.5, which is a standard sheet of paper, and it doesn't matter which direction you go. For mine, I'm going to make mine more vertical. And again, we can name it. I'm going to name it Grid Project. So here we have 8.5. Here we have 11. So mine's going to be more of a portrait. And now that I have that done, I can go and use any image I want and then make it fit onto this size piece of paper. Now, the issue here is that the reason it's not going to necessarily work perfectly is that the printer, all printers have different margins, pretty much. Their printable, their surface they can print on. So we can't actually make the image go to the edge, but using scaling, it should work enough to allow us to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of myself. Cheese. Oh, and something here, notice it says current project. So right here it says new project. If you click new project, it's going to make a new document. We want it in the current project. So I already have that clicked. So if you accidentally click new project, you're going to have a new bar here and it's not going to show you the white space. But here is my face, okay? And what I need to do with this is I'm going to need to fit it into the size of the portrait. So here I just selected it with my selection tool. I'm going to use free transform. And remember, if you hold shift, it will allow it to constrain proportions. If you don't hold shift, you're going to get stuff like that. You don't want to do that, okay? So again, you're going to free transform, hold shift, and you're able to resize it. Now, if it doesn't fit perfectly into that space, that is okay. Just try to center it a little bit. Make it as good as you can fit it. Because everybody's paper can be a little bit different in size. And it depends on your crop and how you took your picture. And if you want yours to be landscape, you can certainly do that. It's no big deal. Okay. So now I have this for my picture. And the next stage, this is where things get a little new and complicated. So what we want to do is we want to put a grid on here. Now, we can put a grid normally to work, but when we go to print it, that grid won't show up because usually we don't want the grid printed. The grid is just so that we can see it for the design purpose. But in this case, we do want the grid printed. So what I'm going to do is go to View. I'm going to go to Add a Guide. See it right here? Add a Guide. And I am going to put in, first of all, change this to inches. And I'm going to make this show. Now, it literally wants you to say at what inch. So if I put 1, it's only going to give me one line. You're going to hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so forth. Same thing on the vertical. Okay, and here we're going to have to keep going because it's actually 11 inches. And we should be able to hit OK, and boom, there's my grid. Now, here's the problem. If I go to save this, so File, let's say I'm saving it as a JPEG for an assignment, you'll see my nose really close up. But what you'll really see is there's no grid. Where did the grid go? And again, that is because the grid is not meant to show up. So the way that I found a little loophole here, and it's going to take a minute, but it'll be okay, is you're simply going to click over here. And normally it looks like this. See the square above the hand? So you're going to click on the square, and we want to pick the line tool. Now the line tool works just like a brush, but if you look up here, there's colors. So I'm going to make mine black. there's a line size, or this is the size, okay? And this is if it's dotted or not. And all I'm going to do is click on the lines like so. And again, you should be able to do this pretty easily. You just click and drag, and we want it directly on top of your lines. And yeah, you can see over there, it's making a whole bunch of layers. Don't worry about that right now. And again, I'm not doing anything fancy. It's not hard to get it onto the line. It's pretty easy. It's snap. I have it set to snap. You guys should too. It's the way it starts. Don't worry, you won't have that screen on yours come up. And all you're going to do is make sure you do every single line. It really doesn't take that long. Okay, I think I have them all. Let's do this last one. Now, once you're totally done, I am simply going to select every layer. So you can select multiple layers by holding Control and literally clicking each layer like this. Or if you hold Shift, it'll connect every layer in between whatever's being clicked. So select every layer either using Shift or Control, two-finger click or right-click with a mouse, and merge those layers. And that's it. There, our grid is now officially there. So if I go to, say, File and export it as a JPEG so I can print it, now we have black lines over my face. Okay, so you would be able to save this and turn this in, and I'll be able to print it, and you'll have your grid set up for your face using 1-inch margins. Again, this is how to create a 1-inch grid using Photopea over any image.